Well, today I shall be telling a story of 15th century history brought to light in modern times, recent times, that involves old and past and modern battles, two of the most ancient roads in Britain, one of which you may be able to see behind me, a road trip, a sport greater than life and death itself, dirty windscreens, oh, and ISIS, and it's all coincidental, of course. Well, hello. Let me take you back to March 2015, and I decided for only the second time in my adult life to go and visit the town I was born and see some of my relatives, which involved going out of my house and then getting onto the Fossway and going straight on until I got there. This is now a coincidental story. Okay, now it may not mean much to anyone, but I'm going to do it anyway because it did blow my mind at the time. Now, I have done a video on this before, but I've since taken it down. So there was some other things going on. At the time, Leicester City were bottom of the Premier League. It's important. It's windy here. This is ISIS by the side of us. It's the source of the Thames. Well, just back there. This is basically the start of the Thames. Technically, the start of the Thames. And also, Richard III had just been found. So I'll come on to all of this. The road you hear behind, that is the Fossway. So I thought it was quite appropriate that I would do this video here along this beautiful stretch of water. So off I go up along the Fossway up to Hinckley and Bosworth. know your history, you'll know that King Richard died at the Battle of Bosworth, being the last king of Britain to die in battle. I never believed all the stuff about him being a hunchback and all the rest of it, because that's what you say about your enemies, isn't it? Oh, he was a horrible, evil, nasty little man, you know, projection and all that. So I go up and stop at one of my cousin's houses. And then at some point during my stay, I got into a bit of an altercation with someone. Someone that my cousin didn't want in her house. So I basically threw them out. And then I was sort of filming them as they were leaving, and nothing was happening, so I stopped filming. And then I watched as they got out a knife and slashed my tyre. That's the kind of people that we don't want in this world. And I knew he was going to do something, and I just stopped filming. Anyway, live and learn. Hindsight is a brilliant thing and all. And then, so I got into this altercation, and then it turns out that it was almost impossible for me to get another tyre. Luckily I had a spare, but it left me stranded in a car park in Bosworth, Hinckley and Bosworth, right? So I thought that was funny. Not only that, you know, strangely coincidental, but not only that, the day I went up was the day before King Richard III was reinterred in Leicester. Another strange coincidence. My mother's sister, right, who's no relation, who's no connection to her personally, has no real connection to, oh yes she does, so that could be where it comes, okay, well forget I said that, I just realised I was going to talk rubbish. She's always thought that there was some connection with Richard III and our family. Other than, well, it's quite possible, seeing as part of my ancestry comes from the North York Moors, Leeds and York, and the North York Moors is where some of my genetics originate, or from documented times originate. Now, one of the people reading at the reinterment of Richard III was someone whose name I forget right now. was Robert Lindsay, who is probably best known for certain roles, but the role I know him best for is as the father in My Family, because when he plays that role, not only did he look a lot like me at the time and a bit later, but I was kind of a bit like it. Yeah, my relationship at the time was a bit like that, without going into details. And someone said to me, you know, who would you have play you in a film of your life? Well, I would pick him. I would have picked him. Now, he also comes from the Midlands, so you know, I don't know whether there's any genetic connection there. There could be. But what was also interesting was that Richard III was found in a car park in Leicester, and I was stuck in a car park, or in a parking space in Hinckley and Bosworth. Anyway, I managed to get out and get home. Now, the interesting thing about when he was found, and it is a strangely coincidental thing, I think, because I watched the programme about it and I studied the woman who knew where he was. She knew where he was. It was weird. If you don't know, basically, there is a Richard III Society, and they've been trying to find him for many years. And they've been looking for years, and she seemed to know from watching her and her little mannerisms and stuff. I was watching her closely. She psychically was connected. I know the signs. And basically they worked out that it was this car park. Got the dig organised. First day, found some bones under the letter R in what says parking. Yeah? And she knew. If you watch it, watch her and her reaction. She has that thing when you know something, when you're psychically or in another way some kind of attached or connected in some deep way, and she had that. I've seen it in other people who have a connection, like the psychic connection there. Anyway, so they took him away, and apparently it is him, and he was reburied. Now, after that, Leicester City Football Club, who were languishing at the bottom of the league, and likelihood would be relegated into the next lower division if they hadn't pulled out their finger and got on. Anyway, they surprisingly just started winning matches and rose up out of the relegation zone and finished mid-table. And all clear, no worries at all. Then the next season, they did the absolutely impossible for a small club without any money, because football's been ruined because of money. And they won the Premier League. They actually won it. Almost as if Richard III was saying thank you. Who knows? So anyway, I've followed the line-up of that coincidence in case you're thinking, oh, what is this bloke on about? Because the Fossway goes from Leicester up to Lincoln. Well, Lincoln City sort of in the next few years didn't do very well and got relegated out of the Football League altogether. But that doesn't mean anything, does it? Because it's Leicester we're interested in. But also York City also suffered. I think both teams had a couple of minor wins, like they won a cup or they got to a particular round or a particular point that was good for them. And then they've since disappeared out of the Football League, so it hasn't been good for them. York City, obviously, being Richard III, he was from the House of York, so they say. Now, the altercation that I had with this lad, who was, his father had paid off the police in order to get his son out of trouble. So he had the attitude, he had that kind of attitude of, well, I can do what I like. Dad will pay to get me out. So I know how dear this video will be. The wind is blowing my mind. I had a lovely solstice last night and today, so but I don't know how long the studio is going to be. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Really does. It's the green, I think. Green makes everything lovely. Yeah, so I think that is all of it, because the Fossway, just to clear up in case you don't know, the Fossway does go up through to Leicester, and High Cross is where Watling Street and the Fossway cross. Now they are ancient British roads, and they cross where I was born and where my father's family originate from. And I know I keep saying this, but those roads, they existed long before the Romans were there. They just did. It just makes far more sense. The Romans came and changed them, but they were already here because of the places that they go by. Now I had to do this video because I have another one to do that is an extremely coincidental and family story that's also quite interesting, and also something I didn't realise until after the event, as the same with this one. I don't realise, well, the things going on, it's only afterwards I go, oh right, oh that's a strange thing. That's very coincidental. And that's led me to name this channel. That's exactly what's caused that. And also where at High Cross, where Watling Street and the Fossway meet and cross each other, is an ancient British settlement called Venone by the Romans. I don't know what it was called by the British, but it's there, it makes sense. It's really interesting that they haven't excavated that, because I would have thought that because of its position it would have been a rather big meeting point for a lot of people. But can't find much about it, and you know, they say there's no evidence. Well, I don't think they've been allowed to look in the fields myself. I can't imagine that the two oldest, biggest roads in the country that meet don't have any artifacts or anything interesting. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Anyway, I'm going to stop that here. If I think of anything else, it will be added in, and I won't look like this, and won't be in a place like this either. And here I am to clarify a few things. The Fossway goes from the southwest coast of England through Bath, up Cirencester, through High Cross to Leicester, and then up to Lincoln. The person that I had the altercation with lives or lived at High Cross, and since I shot all this, I have found out that I share a significant date with Richard III. Like I said, I probably look a bit different, so you can play spot the difference. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, check out the links below, donate if you want to, and hopefully I'll see you next time, because all being well, I will be here like clockwork. Ta-da!